Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the committee meeting of Handforth Town Council Planning. Just a few things which you've all heard before, and know what you have to do. If you hear the fire alarm go off, it is a real event, it's not a practice, and the exits are where you came in. It was through this door here, so you know what the practical few points of the building. Thank you. Right, first item on the agenda 21-29-1 to receive a full responses.
We've had apologies from Councillor Sullivan and Sampson.
Thank you. Item 21-29-2 to note declaration of interest in the request for dispensation to discuss or discuss a vote on a matter in which a member or co-opted member has a disclosed or peculiar or non-peculiar interest.
None.
Thank you. Item 21-29-3, the open forum and comments and questions concerning items on the agenda may be put to the council by the public during this period. Matters which, in the chairman's view, require debate and or a discussion will be referred to the next committee council meeting as appropriate. The public forum is restricted to 15 minutes unless the chairman allows it otherwise. Oh, over to you. Would you mind coming to the microphone?
Yes.
I'm a little hard to
No problem at all. Is that okay? Hiya. I know in previous planning meetings, councillors have mentioned that local residents have maybe put in comments on the planning application. And I noticed tonight, I think there's 3 planning applications that you're due to consider where the window's still open. So how will you know if local residents have comments to make about it?
Yes, well, there's certainly the first one where there's no paperwork for it, is there? And we put them on, and that was put on for the last planning meeting in the hope that there would be paperwork for it by the time the meeting was opened. Unfortunately, the same thing's happened again this time, and there still is no paperwork. But if we don't put them on the agenda, we can't put them on at the last minute.
Right, but the first one is an old one, isn't it?
No, it was only from the last. Tell you what you call that one. It was from the last planning meeting.
Right.
And it was just a recent planning application. So we have to put it on in order that it actually gets on there for us to discuss.
Okay. Well, I know there's at least 3, and the earliest one that finishes is the 18th this month.
It's the
18th of this month for comments.
Yes, they're not on the other ones that are on the agenda tonight. There are on the website. Those will have come in afterwards, and those will be on the next planning meeting. It's up to.
No, there's 3 tonight where the window's still open for comments on Cheshire East Planning website.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant. Sorry, I apologise. I thought you meant that you couldn't actually get on to see any documents.
Oh no, they're there, and they're still open for comments. And what I'm saying is, there may be, I don't know, but there may be comments from residents putting forward good reason one way or the other. But you can't debate that because you're trying to debate it before the deadline.
Well, in many cases, if we don't debate it before, as we do now, then we might miss the deadline.
Well, no, you don't have to put your decision in before the deadline.
Not necessarily, but we could end up with an agenda with 10 items, 15 items on it, with people deferring everything.
So, I mean, have any of you asked local residents about any of the planning things on it tonight?
Sorry,
have any of you asked local residents, maybe neighbours, to the...
It's not up to us to go and ask local residents.
No.
That's not in our remit.
Right.
So
yeah, but
we are actively discouraged not to do that.
Right. But they put their comments on the website
Yes.
and it's still open.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, I understand that. I don't know, I suppose it's a timing issue, isn't it?
It is, these should be done next month.
Well, potentially, if there was something that came up that was of great concern,
Yeah,
then we would look at it again.
but you can't look at it again if you voted.
We can have comments.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I will have a look next time and see, what we're doing with timing and so forth. Yeah, is that all right?
Mhm.
Can we just note that?
Yeah.
I don't know that it will make any difference.
Standard practice.
Okay, anybody else? What's this one?
I'd like to comment on two items.
Can you come up to the microphone,
Sure.
Roger, please?
I'd like to comment on two items on the agenda. Item 10, which relates to a planning application to demolish the Mermaid Public House. I was approached by, I think, two councillors to look at this and to provide some comments. It is a full planning application, and therefore, even though the demolition of a public house is involved, it lies within planning law. It is infill development, judging from the map, and therefore it is in agreement with the Handforth neighbourhood plan. I quite enjoyed reading this application, actually. I thought the planning design and access statement was written by somebody who really knew his stuff. I thought it was brilliantly done. If I could criticise this application in any way, I would say it's the lack of a footpath on the approach road to the three houses, is it, towards the rear of the development. That I think is a poor feature, but it's probably dictated by limitations of space. Everything else in the application I thought was very well thought out and composed, and I would recommend that this council recommends it for approval. My other point is on item 11. Now, item 11 must be the biggest, most complicated planning application that Handforth has had to debate within living memory. That's for sure. I'm not going to go into it in any great detail. The demolition works, which are unspecified, probably relate to the destruction of the footbridge over the A34 prior to its replacement. I would say that Alan Murdoch and I had some discussions with the planners for the garden village in the terms of how are they going to get rid of surface water in this development. It's a big problem because it's a big area, there are going to be lots of houses and building on it, and the rainwater is going to fall on the roofs, straight onto the ground, and it's going to have to be disposed of. And the plan at the moment is that that water, surface water, is drained off by three existing ditches. One of them is right on the extreme eastern edge of the parish, amongst the fields. Another one is in an intermediate position and within Hall Wood. And the other one is a channel to drain into the Spath Brook. Now there's going to be a large volume of surface water pouring into these three ditches, and I think it's necessary that consideration is given to strengthening the banks of those ditches to prevent excessive erosion. If this council writes to Cheshire East about this application, I think the conservation of the Dairy House farm and its associated buildings at an early stage ought to be promoted. We all know that at the junction of Coppice Way with the A34, the roundabout there is going to undergo great change involving light control. There's going to be just north of that roundabout a light controlled pedestrian crossing. So it seems to me that some modifications to the speed limit on the A34 are necessary, perhaps on the stretch between the, oh gosh, what's it called? Dean Row roundabout and the Coppice Way roundabout. That would have two beneficial effects in my view. It would reduce the likelihood of accidents, and it would also reduce the amount of noise which that tract of the A34 currently generates, particularly at weekends. And as regards the destruction of the footbridge, of course, the footbridge will lead into a Hall Road via a concrete track over which there is currently an access dispute. It's intended that the Jones Homes development behind Wadsworth Close be accessed from Jamie Webb Drive. But to do that, there's got to be a road driven across the concrete track, which is owned by Cheshire East Council, to give access to the Sunfield site. And that is currently the subject of a dispute as to how much Cheshire East should be paid to grant access across that track. According to Alan Murdoch, that is going to be the subject of a High Court action in January next year. Okay.
Thank you.
Lots of good information.
I was going to suggest that when we come to the end. Any other members of the public have any comments they would like to make? Okay, well, we'll move on to item 2129.4, to appoint vice chair to the Handforth Town Council Panel Committee. I am going to ask to defer this item because, as you can see, there are an agreement. So I would prefer the other two, maybe even if we have a new council by then, I don't know, who knows. Then they might be on the panel. I prefer to defer it. Are there any objections? No. That's fantastic. Very good. So item 2129.5, to approve and sign the minutes of the Planning and Environment Committee meeting of the 12th of October 21. Does anybody have any queries on any of those? Can we go to page 1? Anything? No? 2? 3? No? 4? Nothing at all? Okay. Can I have a proposal to accept the minutes, please? Proposed. Thank you. Sorry. Can we have a vote on that, please? All in favour? Sorry. Okay, all approved. Item 2129.6. The application 21482538 Marlow Drive. We will have to defer this item again because there's still no documentation on the website. Item 2129.7. To consider planning application 215260M, a first floor extension of a attached garage to 5 Kenilworth Avenue, Handforth. Any comments from councillors, please?
Yes, I had a look on in that area. It looks like the houses on the opposite side of the street are exactly the same thing already, and there's no fence on the plan book and notice proposed.
It's in keeping. Yeah, it's in keeping. Okay, can I have a proposal to accept that, to approve that? Second of this, can I have a vote, please? All those in favour? Thank you. Item 29.9, to consider planning application 215544M, a proposed 2-story. Oh, I'm so sorry, I missed one, I do apologise. 21, 29, 8, that's what happened in the great document. To consider planning application 21, 5425M, a variation of condition 2, plans on 20, 4432M, the erection of one number dwelling land adjacent to 42 Beauty Road, Handforth. Comments, councillors, please.
But, I struggle to actually get on to see this, but, just given it from, Google, and there's actually space for two houses. The area that they're proposing, one next to, not number 44 next to 42. And we rebuild both of those, I think. And the group says that in the space that they're proposing to use.
They're on many new neighbours, obviously, talking to the south, but they're in they can talk about that.
Okay. That's it.
That's what else.
Mark, can we have a proposal then, to approve this planning application? Councillors, proposes. Second, thank you, councillor, vote. All in favour, thank you. Item 21, 29, 9, to consider planning application 21, 5544M, proposed two-storey side elevation extension, a rear single-storey extension and front elevation porch extension for Langley Drive, Handforth. Comments, gentlemen, please.
This is quite a large extension, pretty much extending in every direction. Again, there's no complaints, but it doesn't allow them particularly similar in neighbouring properties.
Yeah, so I thought it was a key that there was no further extension, which is being I thought that there was other similar extensions already on my road.
I think, yes, you're quite right, it is a large extension, but I can't see any viable reasons why you can object to it. There's nothing that you can object to. So, I think it's similar to other things that have happened there. Am I right? So, you're still looking at it?
I do, well, I can see it, I can see similar questions, but, it doesn't go beyond the front of the existing, so.
Do you have closing dates on this one?
The 9th.
Is it?
Yeah. This is 29%, very time. So,
If we've got some more time, it's all on the large one, isn't it? And I was pointed out earlier, there might be other comments come in. Can we go through it? And still have time to get our comments in?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's postpone that and bring it back, give it a bit more time. Okay, item 21, 29, 10, planning application 21, 5423M, the erection of 8 dwellings following demolition of the vacant public house, relocation of the existing access with associated parking, apartments of landscaping on the Mermaid Hotel, Delaware Road, Handforth.
Nice, thank you. Attempts have been made in the past with Cheshire East on the occasions responding to turn the existing building into something that can be used by the community. Also, the housing association, which also get very involved, with it, and the housing association actually wanted to do something with it. Unfortunately, the lease owners decided not to go down those options, and as you can see, are now looking to build the older villa. It can't do anything but improve the area. It's surprisingly, the drawing does look quite right. That's not small, and it's going to improve the area. Yes, it's a I don't know that because this one decided to let it go like that. So,
The only thing not being mentioned at the moment is just that there were a couple of comments on social media that was generally supported. The only query was about whether they were affordable houses, and they look quite nice. The pictures, they did like what I saw, but I think that's the only concern.
As far as I'm aware, they're on market, houses. There's no requirement on the small development for, affordable housing to be part of the, remit, unfortunately. But, it is a small development, shown really, it would be wonderful from all more affordable housing, but, case these days, is it? Any other comments? I have one comment. I have to say, I agree with Mr. Swan. It is a very well laid out planning application. I think it's been very well thought through. It will certainly make the area look a lot better, but then, anything else, to be honest. But yes, they do look very good, and I don't have a problem with the planning application. However, I would like the arboriculturalist report to be taken into consideration when we write up when we approve or disapprove the application. If we approve it, because it's mentioned about working in conjunction with the council to have some suitably designated trees and the types of trees on the site to make it more, to enhance it. And I think his comments were well worth taking on board. I don't know if you read them, I guess it was closing comments on his report. I thought they were worth looking at. It's not going to stop a planning application, even if they don't take it on board, but I think they ought to take it on board, given the fact that, we're chopping down trees all over the place. And there is one tree to go down if they decide to go back. So is that all right with everybody?
one point, Chair.
Well,
Given access is only by down the road, I'm concerned whether there will be sufficient space for large contractors' vehicles to be able to get access.
you mean on the main road,
No,
on the actual,
road.
well, again, the Winston Vale of the road on the planning application.
People park their cars outside the road, and I'm just surprised at 16 ton. When you go to, I might be wrong, but it's like the caveat that actually makes it 16.
Well, yes, it's worth, it's worth having as well.
Yeah, we'd like to
Well,
ensure
I don't know what you can say, but,
no, not okay, but I think it should be mentioned.
well, yeah.
Most of the access restrictions, it might well, and that's certainly something that you comment on, the time in which delivery is made.
And with the street, and with the street. Absolutely. If we can raise it as a caveat, that we say that you want them to confirm that access will be available, readily available, larger vehicles, but they're larger vehicles.
I can put it on your
Would be,
spot,
but I'm
but I
not
don't
sure
think
what
they'll,
you can say. Sorry,
they'll ignore that. Because I don't have to-
say that again.
I don't think they'll, I can put it on the spot, of course. I don't see why.
Well, it's a concern,
Yeah.
so perhaps we could just
I don't think they'll do
put
anything
it
about
down as a concern. I mean, I don't think there's anything in the planning. Obviously, there's got to be access for vehicles, but I don't know that we can object on any
on that
anything else.
ground.
No, I don't think so. Okay, well, with those two things, then may I have a proposal to accept? That's Councillor Smith. And Councillor Moore, second, thank you. And those in favour? All those in favour? Yep, unanimous, thank you. The next item, 21/29/11, I would very much like to defer, purely because, again, we haven't got all of the council here. I think it's far too complex, and I understand because the clerk and I did discuss this, and we did think that we ought to be making some comments on it. But there are a number of items that concern me on some of the new reports that have come out. And I would like some clarification on those, and then I'd like it to come back to full council. To the planning committee, when we've got everybody in. Okay, yeah, thank you. So the item 21/29/11 is deferred. Close the meeting. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.